and welcome to the TechUp 0123 webinar series brought to you by TechUp Filipinas, Distributed Ledger Technology Association of the Philippines, UnionBank, UBX, and UnionBank GlobalLinker. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today for Digitize and Survive, our very first session. We have over 600 people here in this webinar, and we're so glad to have you guys. I am Bea Lim. I'm the Managing Director of Team Asia and a very proud partner of UnionBank, and I will be your moderator for this afternoon session. Ladies and gentlemen, COVID-19 has left businesses strapped for cash. Many are deciding to downsize or close shop, and a lot of people are looking at ways to pivot business strategies and tactics to recover from this global crisis. But the question really is, what world will emerge after the lockdown, right? Is going digital a matter of survival? And this Tech Up webinar series actually covers the why and the how to digitize your business in the midst of COVID-19 and make sure the business owners like us would know how to suit up and move forward in what we are coining the new normal. The speakers and panel members today will take you through a journey on how to digitize your business while leveraging on UnionBank's capabilities and resources. In the end, you will see how you can emerge more capable of capturing the dominant customer that will emerge from this global pandemic, which is really the digital customer. So once again, guys, welcome to our first webinar series, Digitize and Survive. I would like to introduce you to our amazing speakers for this afternoon. You will be seeing them waving at you from their video windows. Today, we have the following panelists and presenters. We've got Jujut Enriquez, who is the UnionBank SME Banking Head. Hi, Jujut.
Hi, Bea. Glad to be here.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. We also have Miguel Dance of UB Portal. He's the head. Hi, Miguel.
Hi, guys. Hi.
Hello. We also have Erica Dizon, the Sales and Business Development Head, FinTech Group. Hey, Erica.
Hi, everyone. Excited to be here. We learned a lot today.
Awesome. We also have Dave De La Paz, our UnionBank FinTech Lead. Hi, Dave.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hello, hello. And of course, we have Jerb Enejada, UBX Central Technology Officer. Hey, Jerb.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Hi.
Good afternoon. And of course, we also have our special guests. Today, we have Justo Ortiz, our UnionBank Chairman. Hi, sir. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you? Good
We're
afternoon
good,
to
sir.
Everyone.
Excited to have you here, sir. We also have Henry Aguda, our UB Central Transformation Officer. Hey, Henry.
Hi, Bea. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We also have Mon Duarte, our UB Head of Transaction Banking and Platforms. Hi, Mon.
Hi, Bea. Good afternoon, and good afternoon to everybody who's joined us this afternoon.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mon. And of course, we have John Januszak of UBX CEO. Hi, John.
Hi, Bea, and good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon. I'm very excited to start this conversation because I'm going to be learning a lot just as we have 682 people now on our call, guys. So I'm so excited. I know that they'll be learning a lot from you guys today. So let's kick it off. So if we go to our just a next slide on this one, guys, we just wanted to let you know the flow of our program. We will be focusing on digital tools on business. Our speakers, whom I've already introduced to you guys, will be taking you through the various ways you can tech up. We will have a panel discussion towards the end of the program after all of the presentations. We will be also opening the floor or the chat room for any questions you may have. And then we will also be breaking out into groups for you to get to know more information from our speakers. We will be giving you the information in just a bit. Our breakout discussions will be on the UnionBank FinTech Group, Business Portal, SME Banking, and UBX. And guys, we also just wanted to let you guys know if you have any questions or clarifications, please don't hesitate to get in touch with our UnionBank FinTech Group Sales and Business Development Team. You can inform them or get in touch with them through fbgsales@unionbankph.com. So if you have any inquiries, please don't worry and just shoot them an email, or you can also get in touch with us in this chat room. For anything, guys, we're locked and loaded. We're ready to kickstart this discussion. And on that note, I would like to call on Mr. Justo Ortiz, our chairman. Sir, I'm turning it over to you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bea. So I hope this is a lot more than just survival. I mean, clearly the pandemic has given us a use case for digital, but and many corporations, both large and small and medium scale, have realized that investing in resiliency is going to be a lot more important going forward. But having said that, we don't want the idea of digital and digital transformation to be just a BCP or business continuity program. I think that clearly there's a lot of opportunity for digital to be mainstream as our new normal. So not about social distances and face masks, because there could be other black swans that come down the road, other pandemics, other natural disasters, and God forbid, even wars. But it's important that we basically focus on digital and mainstream it. Now, it could start as a resiliency goal and a BCP goal, and that would be a good start for everyone. Or there could be pieces of it like ordering and delivery and that sort of thing, as we've experienced with a lot of our especially food services and grocery services that we have today, or farm to market services. But I just want to emphasize that mainstreaming digital from our own experience in UnionBank, and I'll try to talk more in broader terms because we're a service industry, and for a service industry, it's a little easier. But for a goods industry, a manufacturing industry, it's a little more complicated. But having said that, if we break down between operations and the front end customers, our middle line, our expenses, and our revenue line, I think going digital has a lot of advantages in reducing your material costs, in reducing your procurement costs, in reducing your logistics costs, your level of inventory, your conversion costs in manufacturing, your operating costs, and even in your head office support costs, which for small businesses, well, that's the office of the owner, but so maybe you don't save too much on cost, but you'll save a lot on time that you can dedicate to other things. On the customer side, there's a lot of advantages in terms of lowering customer acquisition costs, in terms of targeted marketing through social media, in terms of converting customers, and definitely in terms of servicing customers. And the most important thing is speed to market. I think digital gives us a lot of opportunity to come to market in a very quick, reactive way to the customer needs and wants and the circumstances. Of course, the payback of digital is, and why I advocate mainstreaming it, even though we may start with resiliency goals and some pieces of our whole business model, is because the payback is data. And data, they say, is going to be the new oil, but I say it's going to be the new air. It's what we're going to breathe. And that data gives us now the opportunity to be insightful, to contextually and cognitively be insightful with regards to our customers. So it's more targeted, it's more personalized, It'll give us even better pricing optimization possibilities. It gives us a minimum digital hygiene of a customer experience, which is anytime, anywhere, 24/7, Six Sigma reliability, real-time, safe, secure, and hopefully at a lower cost. All these advantages only come when you have an end-to-end digital business model. And so I look forward that even though this is a great start, that this is a lot more than just survival. It's about prosperity, it's about progress, it's about embracing the fourth industrial age and being fully engaged in that fourth industrial age. The most difficult thing about any of these digital transformation exercises is not the middle line that kind of justifies why you do it in the beginning in terms of the cost saves that I mentioned, but the real difficult thing is customer adoption. And I think that's what this pandemic has made possible. It made people, it overcame the inertia of the status quo, of it ain't fixed, it ain't broke, so don't fix it. You know, let's just keep doing what we're doing because it works. And now you had a sort of customer adoption or behavior change that was done for us by a health crisis. So I'm looking forward to many of these sort of series that gets people to start the journey to digital, but with the end goal not only of resiliency or having pieces to it, but with the end goal of actually mainstreaming digital so that we can finally take advantage both on the supply chain side and on the customer side of data. And that data now can become very valuable in terms of improving our sales, improving our costs, improving our margins, but most importantly, of making us relevant to our customers. So thank you for this opportunity. I don't know if I took up more than my 5 minutes, but hopefully it was worthwhile. Thank you.
Absolutely. Very, very much worthwhile, sir. We learned a lot just with what you shared. Having digital at our fingertips really will be able to help us not only survive this global pandemic, but to also really look into progress, being able to have a total digital transformation journey to help us as we get into this new normal, so to speak. So thank you so much, Mr. Ortiz, for kicking off our conversation for today. Looking forward to all of the presentations that we have from our great speakers this afternoon. And speaking of what Mr. Ortiz...
Well, before you go, since I'm leaving...
Go ahead.
So just enjoy yourselves, have fun, and hope that this all ends up worthwhile. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So there you have it, guys. Mr. Ortiz already told us to have fun because there are a lot of opportunities that we have in store for us. And speaking of having digital at our fingertips and having digital really help us tech up and move forward, not only through this crisis, but with the future, I have with us our UnionBank Chief Transformation Officer, Mr. Henry Aguda. Henry, could you share with everybody here on this group what we can do? What's the digital transformation journey and how do we move this forward?
Hi, Bea. Again, good afternoon to everybody. So first, salute to all the frontliners. So as Tito mentioned, we're moving into the new normal. If not, we call it the new digital normal. So as people move to the digital space, it's on the heels of the heroic efforts of a lot of our frontliners. And if at all, they should inspire us to accelerate the process of moving things to digital because they highlight the fact that at this point, digital is not just about convenience, but it's also about survival. Now, the nice thing about the journey of UnionBank moving to digital is it had Tech Up Pilipinas in mind. So one of the things that our chairman Tito and our CEO Edwin has all been saying is it's a community play. So I'm excited actually for this session because there are a lot of people who will share, a lot of SMEs out there who would want to go into their own digital transformation. So, several years back when UnionBank tried to pursue a digital agenda, we had to seek help from so many other thought leaders, and we had to experiment. Now, with the efforts that have been done by our fintech organization, partnering with the fintechs, through the efforts of our subsidiary UBX, who's put together a lot of platform that SMEs can use, transforming digitally from the lens of us an SME is now easier and more exciting. So if you can give me some time, I'll run you through some of the things that my other colleagues will expound in more detail. So if I were an SME right now, to go digital transform, the first thing I might do is to sign up to GlobalLinker. GlobalLinker provides you a marketplace, a commerce area where like-minded businessmen are going into digital while they pursue their business pursuits. So it's a very robust community. And the nice thing about it is with GlobalLinker, it ties up with another solution that UnionBank has developed through its subsidiary UBX, which is Centro. So if you're an SME and you want to immediately have a digital presence, you don't have to experiment on your own. Again, it says it there, it's for free. You can build your online shop for free. Now imagine if you were a sari-sari store and you still don't have a digital presence. This is your main transformation. You put yourself out there online. And one thing also is it's not all about technology, it's also about resources. So we've also provided CCAP. Some of my colleagues will discuss that in detail later. I mean, John can speak about it in volumes, but this is just, to one of the things that a business would need is still money. And one of the things that you would need when you pursue a digital transformation is capital to see it through. So we have that. We have that in the UnionBank platform. And as soon as you're there, next question is, how do you get paid? Well, you can sign up to one of our solutions also, BUX Box. This is to highlight that UnionBank has been experimenting and developing platform for several years so that it can offer it to the broad market. And in this case, if our audience are SME, they can tap into this platform. Of course, not to forget, even if you're not an SME and if you're just an individual, I mean, the UnionBank app is already there that allows you a lot of digital services. So imagine from opening an account to funding your account to being able to disburse the proceeds of the account. You don't have to go to the branches anymore. That's the nice thing about the UnionBank ecosystem. It allows you access to convenient banking and more. Just to highlight some more, like you have with UnionBank access already to PesoNet and InstaPay, like most SMEs or businesses would need, and get this also. Through UnionBank, you are able to partner with a lot of other entities that allow you to make your business more capable. Like for cash outs, we're partnered with 11,000 cash remittances. For fintech partners, some of our fintech colleagues will discuss later. We've partnered with Coins.ph, we've partnered with Angkas, we've partnered with Grab, we've partnered with most fintechs that if you were an SME and you don't have access to them, you can go through our platforms. I guess last is, we even have this. You can withdraw cash from sari-sari stores. And if you're an SME and you want an addition to your business or to your service, you can sign up with us. So bottom line, it's an exciting time for everybody in the traditional businesses to pursue a digital journey because most of the things that you need are already out there. They've been tested beforehand and they've been made available to all of you. And I've said, I've opened this my talk by saying kudos to all the frontliners. Their heroism should inspire us to ensure that we move to a different normal, a normal that doesn't require people to sacrifice and risk their in order to serve the public. The digital infrastructure is not a 100% replacement for the touch society. But again, like Tito mentioned earlier, beyond survival, if you are able to take the journey with us, you may even flourish afterwards. So that's my piece, Bea. I hope this is just a teaser of everything that will follow with all the other breakout sessions. And I hope everybody have a great and insightful afternoon today. Thanks, Bea.
Thank you, Henry. Thank you. Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Henry Aguda, our Chief Transformation Officer, giving everybody a sneak peek at what we're going to be discussing. What I loved about what Henry shared is the new coined term, new digital journey, or the new digital normal, wherein digital is at the core of what we do that will help us not only survive but to flourish. He also already mentioned actually the next part of our discussion, which is absolutely perfect. I'm going to turn you over to John Januszak, our UBX CEO. Hey, John.
Hey.
You're up next, and please let us know how you guys are helping businesses digitize, survive, and thrive.
All right, sure. Thank you very much. Yeah, so what is UBX? Obviously, we're part of the UnionBank family. We consider ourselves a fintech spinoff of UnionBank. And we believe in a future where financial services are embedded into the day-to-day experiences and activities that truly matter to individuals and businesses. So we're building technology platforms that focus on these key experiences and activities. One of the ecosystems that we're very interested in is in providing digital solutions to the ecosystem of micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises, and of course the entities that support them. So I really liked what Tito said earlier, because in a way, UBX is a bet on digital being the new normal. Another thing that I think is unique for UBX within the UnionBank family is, yes, we're part of the UnionBank family, but we are also a startup and an SME ourselves of sorts. So UBX itself has also been affected by the ECQ, just like all other businesses. At the same time, we're developing solutions that aim to help businesses go digital. So we've been keeping a very close eye on the emerging trends under the circumstances. And I thought today I'd like to just highlight 3 of them that I think are especially relevant for this discussion today. So the first trend is no surprise to anybody, and that is the emergence out of sheer necessity of remote work. I think this trend could also be called work-life rebalanced, or maybe it could be called the acceleration of digital transformation for businesses. Just to share a bit of our own experience. At UBX, we went 100% work from home for all of our staff on the very first day of the lockdown. And it was easy for us. And I appreciate that it's not easy for everybody, but it was easy for us because all of the digital services that we use to run our business are cloud-based, and they're accessible from anywhere. We also invested in productivity tools, such as video conferencing for online meetings. I pulled a stat just before the event today. In February, my team initiated 35 meetings online. So in February, pre-lockdown, we initiated only 35 meetings online. In April, we ran 776 meetings online. So you can see how relevant that technology was for us. We also got creative. We used messaging platforms like Discord. Discord, if you're a gamer, it's a messaging platform that's used extensively by gamers to talk to each other while they're gaming. But we used it to create always-on virtual rooms in a virtual office. So for people on our team, if I want to walk into virtual conference room A, that's where I go on our Discord server, and everybody's already there, and I can just talk to them in real time. I guess what I'm trying to say though is I'm giving you some examples, specific examples from UBX, but whether it's these examples or other cloud-based services, they really are the foundation for taking businesses digital. The second trend, Bea herself actually alluded to it right at the beginning. The second trend is the need to pivot. Where I come from, we have a saying, when life throws you lemons, you make lemonade. So maybe that's another title for this trend, the need to pivot. But I also think another good way of saying or articulating the need to pivot is the emergence of e-commerce. The enhanced community quarantine has created drastic changes in how Filipinos socialize, how we work, and our daily lives. Businesses have to rapidly adapt their strategies to respond to this change in consumer behavior. For a lot of businesses, it means moving from, for example, B2B to perhaps a more direct-to-consumer model. Face-to-face meetings and a physical presence can't be counted on. With the global pandemic affecting supply chains and closing down operations of physical stores and businesses, many are going to have to rely on e-commerce to purchase necessities and to pay the bills in the safety of our own homes. Given this reality, given these restrictions, as Tito alluded to earlier, the new Filipino mindset is now willing to try and accept new technology and to do this at a rapid pace. So traditional SMEs in the Philippines, we feel, and I think the trends are showing that they will miss out on the benefits of online marketing. They will lose potential customers as millions of mobile users start making buying decisions on the go, on demand, if they don't go digital. Consumers now are relying on virtual stores to make their everyday purchases. The storefront must be digitized today and going forward. Just some interesting ones, and I don't think any of these will be a surprise to everybody. But just to show the extent of the storefront going digital, or the need for it to go digital. The Department of Agriculture has partnered with USAID to provide local farmers and their produce accessible, make them readily accessible to consumers through its Curative City Farms initiative. If you've been on Facebook and Viber, the emergence of ghost kitchens is astounding. Actually, I can't believe how many of these have popped out of seemingly nowhere, and now they're pervasive in our Viber chat rooms and in our Facebook Messenger. Even the Palenque, the wet market, has been promoted to an online platform. I am a regular visitor on Saturday mornings to the Salcedo market. That market is now online, and I can make my purchases that I used to make physically with the vendors there at the wet market. That's now available to me online. And other industries have followed suit. Ancus, I saw a chart where Ancus's volume, it fell to almost zero, but then they quickly pivoted from being a rideshare service to a digital delivery service, and now they're as busy as ever. And traditional retailers, True Value, Rustans, National Bookstore, all of these traditional players have started online shopping services. And I thought I'd just finish the retail component by giving an example right from the source of the current crisis. There's a cosmetics company in Wuhan. I think I'm probably not going to pronounce this right, but I think it's called Lin Quin San. They were forced to close over 40% of their stores due to COVID-19. But what they did is they redeployed over 100 of their beauty advisors from the stores to become online influencers. And they've leveraged digital tools such as WeChat to engage customers virtually and drive online sales. So yet another example of the need to digitize the storefront. And of course, it won't just be retail. In healthcare, we're seeing a move to telemedicine as the storefront of healthcare. Schools and universities have also started to move to online courses after the recent experiences with distance learning protocols. So that's the second trend. The third trend and the last trend that I think I want to just highlight that we're watching and we're seeing is the government role. Another label for this trend might be called stabilizing the economy, but I think it could equally be called delivering large programs or large programs being enabled by modern technology. And it crosses from very simple things to very, very big programs. We've seen multiple Viber groups pop up to keep citizens apprised. The one that I personally watch throughout the day is the one from the Department of Health. And I'm sure many of you are subscribed to that Viber group as well. The Department of Trade and Industry is helping SMEs to access online platforms and to learn how to take their businesses online through virtual workshops. But maybe on the larger side, providing liquidity support for small businesses is provided under the by an EHAN to Heal as One Act. It's important because it's going to cushion the economic impact of this nationwide lockdown and then getting back to the new normal. But digital solutions are required to deliver these programs at scale and in a timely manner. And for SMEs, timely manner is really the right phrase because SMEs in particular have a need for immediate working capital to see them through. So I wanted to highlight some of the trends. Henry already alluded to some of the solutions that we've developed that we think help or enable or address some of those trends. And Gerb's going to speak later and provide some more details on some of the UnionBank and UBX solutions that we feel address these trends specifically. I guess in closing, I'll say that it's said that in unprecedented times, you make an assessment of the resources you have, you make the best use of the resources you have, and I think what will set companies apart is the ability to find the right opportunities that are available now that leverages on those resources that you have. And digital truly will multiply that effect. So thank you for coming today, and I hope everyone appreciates the rest of the presentations today.
Great, thank you so much, John. That was great. Being able to summarize all of our trends really into three, which is taking the business online, making sure that you digitize your storefronts, and of course, also looking into the government's role in all of this new normal, right? So we would also like to check in with Mon Duarte, our head of transaction banking and platforms. Mon, we would love to have your insights on this as well. Go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon, Bea, and thank you again for having me here and for the chance to address the exactly 900 people out there watching right now. Yeah, so there's just a lot of good stuff. Even I'm learning stuff from my coworkers and John and the like. He talked about how this whole experience has been such a boost for anybody that's already on digital and how that's accelerating the adoption of digital. Yesterday, I actually booked, or actually day before yesterday, I actually booked repair of my aircon through a small SME online ref, aircon, and oven repair, washing machine repair service. So that's really cool to see, and it goes to show. And I don't think I would have been able to call any other kind of a small business like that up and running in a situation like we're having today. So that's just an example of how small businesses are digitizing, taking advantage, or rather making the most out of the situation we're all in, right? So, and I'm sure that's not the only example you guys can all think of in terms of digitization. Your competitors are probably going online already. You're probably seeing that if you're in retail, or if you're in distribution, you're probably already experiencing that through a lot of perhaps your own businesses sales starting to move online. Certainly your competitors are probably there too. And you're also experiencing that in the context of the banks, right? Many banks like UnionBank are offering a lot of digitized services already. We're moving banking online, and I think a little bit later on, Folks like Migs are going to talk about exactly what we're doing. So that's all exciting stuff. But what I really wanted to share a little bit of insight on is something that we probably don't think of too much is that the government is actually also digitizing. That's really, really, really important in terms of successfully moving our businesses online. So there's a couple of things I'd like to just kind of like, for example, discuss and what the government is doing in terms of digitizing, right? In reality, you may have not been experiencing it too much directly, but it's actually already happening today. If you're using, like I said, online banking services, and as we're all experiencing the benefits of funds transfers across banks, right? Through PesoNet and InstaPay. I mean, those were initiated initially. Those came from government backed initiatives, right? And these have been extremely successful, right? So this means that today, as you're probably beginning to experience already, you can easily make transfers from your account to another account at another bank, real time, very conveniently and very affordably. That kind of technology is also those kinds of facilities are also used by businesses, right? This is not purely for consumer, but these are used very increasingly, and I can tell you we're experiencing a tremendous increase in the usage of these interbank funds transfer systems, digital. Right, but that's perhaps the most visible that you're experiencing today. But in truth, is many other parts of the government. For example, BIR, UnionBank, as have other banks, but UnionBank has been working with BIR for quite a few years now in supporting many of their efforts to go electronic, and I think that's only going to continue to accelerate. Today, you can do. For larger corporates in particular, you can do electronic tax filing and payments. UnionBank provides a lot of services in that space. And similarly for customs, you can also do payments there. Other agencies, the government today that are really taking advantage of digital are GSIS and SSS, for example. SSS, you can now do digital contribution payments. Disbursements of loans, they're now working with their banks to be able to disperse SSS loan proceeds through electronic means, right? That to any kinds of accounts. And similarly, that also goes for example, Pag-ibig is also doing similar things, right? So I would say that if you've not already thought about how you might avail of the different government services, I think you should start to look at that now, because that can really make a big difference in the way you avail of government services, can make it much more efficient. But there are also a couple other things that I want to point out, which are coming down the pipe, shall we say, that I think are going to make a very big difference in terms of the way you can digitize your businesses. And that are supported by the government, right? One I want to point out that I think has also gotten some attention in the news recently is the national ID, right? As you're probably aware, the government has an ongoing project for a national ID system. I guess that one is getting a lot of flack for being delayed, but that's going to happen. The good thing, it's happening. It's the project is real. It's a tremendously huge project, you can imagine. But the interesting about the national ID is that the plan does also incorporate the ability to consume those national IDs information digitally, right? So you can imagine now verifying identity of your clients, customers, trading partners, quite fully digitally without having to resort to a physical ID. That's coming down the pike. That's very much in the works. To introduce a lot of efficiencies and a lot of opportunities for reaching markets that particularly consumers that you've not been able to reach before, right? The other one I want to point out for those of you who are in an import-export, shall we say, or actually in anything intensively supply chain based, is that you're now going to be seeing the supply chain becoming digitized, right? We all know about the nightmare stories, unfortunately, that's been happening with the problems with this lockdown, about how the logistic supply chain systems for food have somewhat broken down. Farmers are not able to get produce to their processors or their buyers, right? These can't be trucked. These cannot be connected down to made available to the retailers for purchase. So the whole system is breaking down, right? So what you're going to see now, and it's already happening, is increase of digitization of the supply chain. That's happening right now to an extent, in a little way, with the boom again that this situation is providing for the likes of Lalamove, right, and Grab. They've become the fallback. In fact, there's a story even in the bank. We've even resorted this as a way to resolve some of our logistics issues brought about by the lockdown. But these are all initiatives in the private sector. You think about that done in the national level, right? So what you have now is the rise of these national trade systems. For example, Singapore has mandated some 3 years back that all importers and exporters digitize and provide digital copies of all of their transactions information, their business profile, their counterparties. They may be put available on a national database, which also tracks transactional information. That's going to become the norm, and it's already happening all across the world. Largely, this is driven from a desire to improve revenue collection, I suppose, but also it will open up opportunities for opening up new markets, right? So you can imagine now how it'll be much easier to find suppliers and potentially customers across, even smaller SME type suppliers and customers who might be otherwise inaccessible, right? These are a couple of the initiatives and activities happening at the government level, which I think will be very, very exciting. And I think all businesses, big or small, should be looking closely at how these might impact and help drive their businesses forward towards digitization. So Bear, that's it. I hope that information was useful. Glad to share, and hope you enjoy the rest of the presentation today.
That's great. Thank you so much, Mon. That's very helpful, absolutely, because we're able to look at digitization not only from our businesses or from a consumer standpoint, but also from what is happening on the national level, both in the public and the private sector. So thank you so much, Mon, for introducing that insight to us. We actually also want to look deeper into what these digitized platforms or what are the digital tools that can help us in terms of navigating through our businesses in this pandemic, right? Or even above and beyond that. So I'd actually like to call on Erica, who is the Sales and Business Development Head of the FinTech Group. And Erica is actually going to be walking us through not only her insights, but also on all of the different things that you can expect, or what are the different tech tools that are available for us and to help us in this new normal and to flourish in the digital space. So Erica, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Thanks, Bea. Okay. Hi. Okay. Thanks, Bea. Anyway, I just wanted to do a quick recap. So Mr. Huso Ortiz discussed why it's essential for us to do this digital transformation. Second of all, I think John Yang Zak give pretty solid examples of how trends are moving across now and how various businesses are moving online to ensure that they survive through this pandemic. And of course, thanks again to Mon for giving us ideas on how the government is actually working with us in making sure that we all survive this. In terms of my end, maybe let's take a step back first and probably discuss digitization. So I'm sure everyone knows what that is. It's speed, it's ease, it's efficiency, but most of all, I think it's a paradigm shift in how we engage. So earlier we've discussed why we've changed our own processes and the products that we have. But to give you a better understanding of how we do that, I think it would be prudent to give you an example of how exactly we engage. So first and foremost, the bank has decided to engage with fintechs first and foremost. Number one is because we do that through partnerships, because we believe that fintechs have the solutions that are quite innovative, and at the same time, we didn't want to get left behind in terms of how fast these fintechs are able to go to market, as how Mr. Ortiz would say. Second of all, the reason that we had to engage with fintechs is because we didn't want to compete with them, but rather to be able to cooperate with them and not operate in silos. So what happens is we do engage these fintechs. The bank is in the middle, and at the core of it, we do consultations, and we have a mandate of sort of teching up our customers and how exactly they can do that. So just to give specific examples, probably for everyone here, we have a fintech referral package. So it's in partnership with various fintechs. An example of this is an HRIS provider. So an HRIS provider essentially helps companies do the computation of the payroll rather than HR doing it themselves, so that HR could actually focus on things that would increase efficiencies for their company. So what this HRIS solution is quite good for, it's applicable for BPOs or for companies with a big slew or a big number of people under their payroll. Second of all, aside from an HRIS partner, we've partnered with a payment gateway or a payment aggregator. So as a lot of companies now actually go online and move their business online, people need to have a way to be able to pay for the various goods and services as we move to the internet. So the payment aggregator serves as a channel for people to pay various means, not just by going to the banks itself, but going through non-traditional channels as well. So let's say, for example, I want to go to 7-Eleven because there's no bank that's near. I could pay my online purchases through 7-Eleven instead of looking for the nearest city where banks are available. So other than the HRIS solution, a payment aggregator, the bank also has a partnership with a fintech that provides inventory management and sales management. So what it does is that it helps businesses like large distributors, supermarkets with a quite large number of SKUs to manage their inventory system rather than doing it manually. So basically, you reduce the amount of theft, and as Tito mentioned earlier, you increase efficiencies and you reduce costs as well that way. Other than that, of course, we have smart COD. So again, as businesses move online, we enable them and we ensure that their businesses are able to survive in this environment as more people are able to purchase through COD options. So those are just, I guess, a few examples of the fintechs that we partner with and the solutions that they offer. I know it's not traditional banking, but then that's how we're trying to move forward, right? And how we want to be better, be a better bank for our customers. Now, I think the important part here now is that we realize we use technology not just for maintenance anymore, but a shift towards innovation. And I think SMEs, large corporates, MSMEs should also think of using technology as a way of surviving this. So the fintech referral package gives you some ideas of how companies can do that as you shift online, as you pivot your business model. And at the same time, I think when you use technology, you're able to survive against your competitors and in this type of new environment. So if you guys have any questions and how you want to maneuver or think of how you can start digitizing your businesses, we're here. So just give us like a call and put in your questions in the chat box, and then we'll be replying to you guys as soon as we can. But we'll be discussing more towards the end of the session, the bank's own products of how we've digitized our operations, our new products, and how, I guess, customers can use that. So without further ado, I'd like to call on Migs Dance. Migs Dance is the head of the portal. So essentially, it's going back to the basics. It's a business platform that allows you to do multiple banking transactions online. Migs.
Thanks, Erica, for that introduction. So hi, everyone. I hope you can hear me. I'm Migs Dance. I'm the product manager, like Erica said, of our business banking platforms. So currently we have two main websites, the portal, and we have UnionBank SME Banking, which is our website and mobile app specifically for SMEs. So I'm gonna jump straight to it. So I think at this point of the ECQ, we all already know that there's a big push to go digital, right? And that's especially true in banking. We found that in the personal individual accounts, but surprisingly, we found that even more so for corporate or business accounts. So the graph next to me shows the rise in the last 2 months since the ECQ started. I can't show you the actual numbers for confidentiality reasons, but just so you know, it's about 10 times the number of average transactions a month. So it's really risen in the last few months. So really the opportunity is here. Our role in the bank is really just to make that transition to digital as easy, as seamless as possible. So I'm going to talk about a few things we've done, online banking, UnionBank, to make that transition much easier. So generally, when we talk about business banking or banking in general, transactions are classified in two main flows. The first one is disbursements, and the second one is collections. So I'm going to talk about disbursements first. Disbursements are usually for businesses, payments to suppliers, cost of goods, cost of services, payment to the government, payment to the utilities. And fun fact, the Philippines is actually one of the few countries that still has a rising number of checks issued annually. So now that we have the ECQ, I think we're really shifting over now to digital because a lot of those checks are actually driven by businesses. So what we've done at the bank, again to the point, is to really just give them as many options and to make that shift to digital as seamless as possible. So I'm gonna go show you guys 3 ways that we've given clients to initiate transactions on our website. So the first one is the most basic one. See, business clients have varying degrees of tech savviness. So some are very manual, while on the opposite spectrum, some are very, very digital. So we just wanted to cover the entire spectrum. So again, the first one is the normal, usual way that you transact as if you were transacting on your personal account. It's through the website or mobile app. So yes, we do have a mobile app for businesses. We're one of the few banks that have a mobile app specific for businesses. A second way is a bit more techy. So if you have a large number of transactions, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, you can actually transact those on our website via an Excel file, which makes it much easier than entering it one at a time. And the third way, which I think Dave is going to discuss later, is via API. So if your company is ready to do API integration, we can actually get requests directly from your core system, your ERP system, and that sends instructions to us, and we can initiate those transactions seamlessly, less prone to error, much faster, and securely. So those are kind of the ways we've made it easier for clients. We've made it easier for them to create transactions, but another tidbit, this is pretty cool. So we wanted to make it and really cover end to end. See, normally when you transact in online banking, you get confirmation that your sending bank has released the funds, but there's no confirmation that the other side has actually credited it into the account of the beneficiary. So what we've done is we've integrated to the clearing system so that when Security Bank or BDO or whatever the bank you're sending to confirms that transaction, we actually inform the business and let them know that the transaction's been credited. It becomes a real proof of a transaction, and it becomes much more usable for businesses. And in fact, another cool thing you can do is if you give us the mobile number or email of your supplier, we can actually send a notification to your supplier. And the funny story is sometimes we actually are able to notify them even before the beneficiary bank is able to notify them that the funds have been credited. So that's some ways we're really making it fun and easy on the disbursement side of things. On the flip side, we're also doing a couple of things for collections. One thing I'm really excited about is next week, we plan to launch the first ever in the Philippines mobile check deposit for businesses. So, I think you guys are a bit familiar with this for the retail side where you can take a picture of your check with your mobile app. With our mobile app, we're able to take a picture and deposit it into a business account. So that's really convenient for businesses, especially during this time. Another thing we're doing with collections that's an age-old banking issue is we're actually making it more transparent. See, generally, when you receive funds into your account, in your statement of account, you see it as an anonymous inward remittance. You don't know who the heck sent that. So for businesses, this is a real pain in the butt because they get so many transactions coming into their account. What we've done, and surprisingly, it's such a simple solution, is we now show them who sent the funds. We send them the sender and the source of the funds. And so now, if they have 3 suppliers sending them, say, 10,000 pesos, and there's one line in their account, they don't have to come back to those different suppliers and ask who deposited this. So really, what we're getting rid of is the old process of, hey, take a selfie with your deposit slip, right? And business clients don't really have to do anything. We're giving it to them by default. So we're really just being more transparent, and that makes collections much more seamless. Now, that's disbursements and collections. But actually, those benefits are already experienced when you're on the mobile app or website already. But what we wanted to do is improve the process end to end. So last month, we introduced digital enrollment so that by the time businesses decide that, hey, I want to enroll my business into online banking, we've made it much, much more seamless for them. Not just on the website, but end to end. So with this digital enrollment, clients can actually be using online banking within minutes. And for the retail or personal accounts, this is quite common, but for businesses, this is unheard of. A lot of banks rather, us as well, take weeks, months previously. Baka nga tapos na yung ECQ by the time they're using online banking. With this, it really makes it much easier, faster, and without having to go to the branch, so safer as well. And see, the challenge with businesses is they have unique requirements. That's why it's so hard to onboard them so quickly. Unlike the retail or individual personal accounts, you just have an out-of-the-box product. You just put on the App Store and everybody just uses the same thing. For businesses, we have to customize it for each business. Each business has a unique set of approval that they need to go through. Some don't need approval. Some businesses want to limit access rights per user. So with this online platform, we're actually allowing them that level of customability. We didn't take that away. So what I'm trying to say is we've really covered end to end, the vertical from when they decide to go through online banking and make it much easier for them up until when they're already transacting up to the very, very end when the beneficiary gets the funds. Now that's the vertical side. So this is my last slide, bear with me. Is we also wanted to cover the horizontal path. So what I've found surprising is that a lot of business owners actually have a lot of businesses. So we found that to be true for well, I thought it was true for big, large conglomerates like the Aboitiz Group or Metro Pacific. But surprisingly, this is also true for SMEs as well. So what we found is entrepreneurs have this creative mind, and so they can't just focus on one business. So we have one guy who's doing a pawn shop, a grocery, he has a pet store. And what we've done is not only can you enroll digitally, but we are also allowing clients to enroll all their accounts. So previously, here's the actual landscape, right? So for most business banking websites, for each of your businesses, you have to remember a company ID, a user ID, and a password. So if you can imagine, if you have a couple of businesses, you're gonna forget a lot of that. And so we didn't reinvent the wheel here. We just took a look at the best practice. A lot of the obvious websites are already using the most common user ID, which is the email address. So with your email address, actually, you can already access all your different accounts and you can and businesses rather, and you can switch between them without having to log out. It sounds simple, but it's actually really, really useful for a lot of businesses, what we found, whether they're small or large. So those are kind of the things that we've done. Just to recap, I'm done. We've covered the vertical, which covers the end-to-end process of them transacting, and we've also covered the horizontal so that it's easy to manage different businesses for their account. So I think that's it. The ECQ is here. Our role is really just to make it easier. And like a lot of the speakers said before me, I think the ECQ is just the start and the opportunity. But really, I think digital banking for businesses is here to stay. And so there's a lot of opportunities, both for the bank and for the businesses to really take advantage of this. So that's it for me. I hope you guys learned one or two things. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Migs. That was pretty insightful about what the portal is. I think with ECQ now and with reduced transportation, even during GCQ with transportation down at 50% capacity, I think using the portal will be quite useful for businesses because they no longer have to go to the branch to do their banking transaction. So I think that's the most useful part of the portal and how our clients and customers could use that. Now, moving on to another part of the products of SMEs and our segment is Mr. Jujut Enriquez, who will be talking about our GlobalLinker. So GlobalLinker basically is an online platform wherein multiple fintechs, tech providers are on the platform to give various services or goods or products that will help SMEs and corporations tech up. So what happens is it's like a mini LinkedIn for SMEs so that they can use these tools to increase their efficiencies, to reduce costs, and actually like what Zhao said earlier, to prosper. So if a lot of companies get on this platform, they'll see the breadth and depth of technology out there. They'll have ideas on how they could use this for their own businesses as they pivot, as they change their business model, or as they go online. Jujut, please take the floor.
Hello. Sorry, I was on mute. Anyway, I was just saying that after an hour, it's very interesting to see that there's still close to 900 participants very much engaged to this presentation. And let's go to the next slide. Okay, the next slide. So, all right. So we've heard, I think the new buzzword for 2020 really is the new normal. So everyone has a different idea of what this new normal is. And some people might have some hesitation, but I'd like more to focus on the opportunities that this one might bring. Next slide. So, all right, earlier it was mentioned by Henry about GlobalLinker. He introduced it quite briefly, but I want to talk about it on how it might be able to help you and your business during this new normal. Now, GlobalLinker, just think of it like a Facebook, except that it connects you to the same like-minded business owners. Now, we've run GlobalLinker for about 3 years already. And locally in Philippines, we have about 42,000 members that are mostly SMEs. And globally, we have 300,000 members. So what does this mean? It means that you get connected not only to local like-minded business owners, but also where GlobalLinker is present. Like, for instance, there's a large presence in India. There's some presence in Vietnam, Malaysia, and Thailand. So if you can just imagine for a moment, right, that compared to a brick and mortar, you're very much localized. But in this case, by creating an e-store, you're automatically connected to about 350,000 like-minded business owners. Next slide. Now, I want to talk about the opportunities or the solutions when you go into GlobalLinker. Now, you'll see like a wide range of solutions here. So I failed to mention earlier, but I want to talk about the creation of an e-store within GlobalLinker, which is, I think, one of the more productive ways of using GlobalLinker. And GlobalLinker, just about this year or late last year, introduced e-store. And quite not so surprising, but I was told that there are already about 280 businesses that already opened e-stores, and it's very easy. Now, GlobalLinker, just mentioned earlier by Henry, this is free. All you have to do is go to UnionBank GlobalLinker, you log on, you're now a member, and there is a do-it-yourself e-store creation. Now, this is very important because now in the new normal, it's very apparent that we should be able to showcase our products and services online. That's easy to reach. Now, if you look at this slide, you're going to see a lot of solutions. Many of them Erica already mentioned, like for instance, HRIS is here. But one of the more common things that SMEs actually look for here are to support an e-store would be a payment gateway, and you have here Dragon Pay and Union Bank's own box. You have here PayMongo. Also, one of the more popular ones that members look for would be logistics, and you'll see here QuadX. Now, for those of you who purchase items from Lazada, you will see that when it arrives, it is actually fulfilled by QuadX. So this is one of the solutions that we offer on the platform, and we also offer financing. So you'll see here under lending services, CCAP is here. It was mentioned earlier by Henry, and I believe Jerb will be talking about this later. And it's really an easy way to get financing for your business immediately, because here there's a process that takes only 4 hours to reach a credit decision and about 1 day to actually release the funds to you. So now, if you decide not to have an e-store and go with whatever way you're distributing your products now, how they're being known and all that, at the back end you can still avail of many of these partners, the services of our partners, to lower your costs. So this is not just available on the e-store; it's also available to all SMEs. All you have to do is log on to GlobalLinker, be a member. It's free, and it's going to connect you automatically to about 350,000 like-minded business owners. Next slide. Now, the SME banking app, Mig spoke about this in very great detail, so I don't have to go through the features of all this. So that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jujut. And I'm very, very happy to see that there are a lot of fintech partners and tech partners on GlobalLinker. On our end, our hope is for SMEs and companies to get on board GlobalLinker so that you can use the tools that are available for you out there. Other than that, the idea for us is to make sure that we enable you as our customers and as our clients. We're not just simply thinking about ourselves. The technology transformation isn't just about Union Bank, it's with everyone. And I think that's part of the tech up movement that we're trying to push and ask everyone to join us. Now, other than GlobalLinker and other than the portal, we do have application program interfaces. So basically APIs, as they call it, are machines, or is a programming language that machines use to talk to one another. So usually it takes the place of manual processes and make sure that it's machines that talk to one another. And the reason for that is, yes, it's a part of digitization. It's a way for companies to make sure that they reduce errors, because now moving forward, it's technology that's handling that portion. So you as clients, as SMEs, as corporations can focus on the bigger things like how to strategize to get more customers, how to survive in this environment, how to pivot your own business. So with that, I'd like to call on the head of the API platform for the FinTech Business Group, Mr. Dave De La Paz.
Thanks for that, Erica. And good afternoon to everyone watching right now. But before I present what the value of the Union Bank API Developer Portal is, building on what Erica said, let me start off by briefly defining what APIs are. Basically, an API is a messenger or a common language that allows different systems and platforms to communicate with one another for the purpose of seamlessly processing information and transactions in the form of sending requests and receiving a response. So an API allows your very own system or application to connect to a functionality that is owned by another system or applications, which you can embed within your own process flows. So in a way, an API represents an access point to an external service that you can use to enhance your business and operational processes. Next slide, please. So in this case, Union Bank as a bank has many functionalities and services that it offers, such as bills payment, fund transfers, availing of loans, and many more. And the bank decided to expose these functionalities to any interested consumer in a form of API so that our clients can easily infuse these services as part of their business processes. And so the birth of the API developer portal and marketplace, which you can access by visiting developer.unionbankph.com. Next slide, please. Currently, the platform offers a vast set of functionalities that our users can choose from. The most notable ones are the APIs that can help you in managing your cash flows, especially for your collection and disbursement needs. There are APIs to help you collect online payments from Union Bank account holders, or APIs that allow you to directly pay a specific biller. And then there are APIs that enable you to send funds directly to any local bank account. In addition to those, we have been working to expand the product catalog of the API developer portal in such a way that we are not limiting ourselves to only offer banking services. We're partnering with fintechs and other solutions providers to invite them to publish their own APIs within the platform and add new products such as paying out to physical counters, topping up your e-wallets, or availing of digital insurances, thus creating that diversity in the products and services that are available for our clients' consumption and creating that whole API marketplace setup. Right now, we have close to 50 fintech and corporate partners across different industries that are utilizing our APIs and have gone live with us. Most of them have sustained their services and maintained the level of transactions that are coming in. For instance, we have e-commerce platforms using our APIs to collect payments from end users that are Union Bank account holders through a direct debit setup. It also allows the users to link their Union Bank accounts within the third-party application to enable a one-click payment feature for an easier online purchase experience. We also have e-wallet providers using our services to provide a seamless way of topping up the wallets, and it gives the consumers more options on how they utilize their funds, from performing wallet-to-wallet remittances up to paying billers that are exclusive to those wallets only. So the idea is connecting various fund sources to have more flexibility on the usage of funds. Then our APIs also empower the platforms of lending and insurance companies, reinforcing their processes to easily disburse not only to Union Bank bank accounts, but also to bank accounts in other banks as well. So the APIs allow them to craft a way of sending the proceeds of their services directly to the different bank accounts of their customers. And most recently, our payment API was integrated to a platform that allows the users to file and pay their taxes using their Union Bank account at the safety and comfort of their homes. So having an open API marketplace allows any users to just mix and match functionalities and fit those services to their existing products and ideas that they are building based on their own model and preferences. And the best thing about it is that you don't need to contact anyone from the bank just to get started. Sorry, can you go back to the previous slide so I can show the functionalities? There is a self-service onboarding functionality wherein all you need to do is sign up to get access to the extensive API catalog. At the same time, there's a sandbox environment within the platform that you can use to simulate the different functionalities, play around, and craft your own solution. We've made sure also that the content and documentation within the developer portal is complete for both the business and technical audiences. It also has a step-by-step get started page to lay down the roadmap on how clients can transition from the experimentation phase in our sandbox environment all the way to production and going live with our APIs. We had a partner before that was able to build their product within the sandbox environment, and when it was presented to us, it was already complete. So the transition to production was seamless and fast. So that wraps up my the API developer portal. And that's it for me, Erica. Hope this presentation helped. And again, anyone can easily browse what this platform has to offer by visiting developer.unionbankph.com.
Thank you so much, Dave, for that sweet and very informative presentation. It's great that you gave us use cases so that our customers can see how their own businesses can use APIs. Now, I'd also like to point out that APIs are UnionBank's way of practicing open architecture, open banking. So anyone could go in the developer portal, test out our APIs, and see if it's for you. We don't require you to necessarily open a bank account with us to test these out. Also, in terms of APIs, please don't be, intimidated by what this is. We are here to help you go through the process. If you are not API ready in terms of your own tech department, then we can find ways and means of how we can do that for you as well. So just let us know. We're always here to accommodate and to guide you if this is something that you think is useful for your business. I guess to put it in layman's terms, it's a way for companies to do away without uploading and downloading Excel files. Because as we mentioned, it's the digital way. No longer are we akin to host-to-host or SFTPs because API is here to stay. Now, moving on, aside from the developer portal and from APIs, I'd like to call on our last speaker for today, Mr. Jerb Inahada, who is part of UBX. So as Mr. John Yanuzak mentioned earlier, UBX is the fintech arm of UnionBank. And the reason we did that is because, again, number one, we didn't want to compete with fintechs in UnionBank, but we want to cooperate with them. And so that in itself is our way of doing that as well. That's why we put UBX. They provide technologies as a tech partner for UnionBank as well. And they also have put up various platforms of their own. So very quickly, Jerb will be speaking about CCAP, which is quite useful for us today because we understand that because of this pandemic, businesses have stopped. And therefore, they would need funding and excess cash, more capital to ensure that their businesses survive and their employees are able to stay on. So CCAP is a platform which puts together various lenders as well as other companies who are looking for other means of getting financing rather than going through the normal way of going to banks. Aside from CCAP, Jerb will also quickly discuss BUX, or as we aptly call it, books. So books is a payment gateway wherein if you are a business and you want to receive funds online, then you get books into your platform or into your website. So lastly, Jerb will also discuss very quickly as well Centro. So I know nowadays lots of companies are trying to move online, but don't really know where to begin or how to start. So obviously the first step of that would be opening your own website and going online. So Centro can help you do that for your own business. So Jerb, please start.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Yeah, so maybe just forward to my slides, I guess. Hello? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jerb. I'm the Chief Technology Officer of UBX Philippines, UnionBank's fintech subsidiary. So today, as Erica has mentioned, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tools for the business owners and entrepreneurs out there that can help you manage your business during these trying times. But first, some context. So next slide. We all know that this pandemic has hit us globally in terms of our economy pretty hard. No, according to the IMF and in the annual global GDP growth for this year is going to decline sharply by 3%, and we're just expecting to rebound at the second half of the year if this pandemic is contained, no, by quarter 2. Everywhere around the world, you see supply chains getting disrupted. At the macro level, a lot of industries are also hit pretty hard. But as a business owner, what does that mean for us? How can we relate, right? So we've started to feel these effects at the late January of this year, but up to today, all we really have are questions. So as business owners, we worry about our employees, about how we're going to continue our operations, what kind of tools will we need to quickly learn and adapt so that we could maintain to be on top of the business. And on top of all that, we have to make sure that we're liquid enough to survive this crisis. So it's a lot, really. On the consumer side, so next slide. A lot of Filipinos are pushing back non-essential purchases to at least 3 months, and a lot of guys are just kind of battening down the hatches talaga in terms of expenses, no? Because they want to hold on to their funds, unsure of the months ahead because of the uncertainty. So very low purchases in terms of non-essential products, and high ticket items. 54% are not anymore purchasing. Um, Surveys also say, next slide, that a lot of consumers think that this would last up to the third quarter of this year. And we're already seeing some research that it might last longer, and a second round of this pandemic might actually happen. Rightfully so, no? And we see a great majority of the people thinking that there will be, we're actually entering into a long-lasting recession, as also evidenced and hinted by the IFC and the IMF's latest forecast for global growth. So next slide, next slide. So next slide. Yeah. So newsflash, 2020 is canceled, guys. So a lot of people are saying 2020 is like 2019 part 2. At this time, it's very easy for us to feel and think that our entire year has been canceled and everything is just tanking. But as a business owner and as an entrepreneur, knowing that you have a business to take care of and employees that are really trusting you for their daily, to a point now, sometimes it's really daily consumption. What are we going to do about it? So how can we respond? So just going to share 3 tips to everyone today. So first, so let's know our context. That's the very first and most important thing that we need to do. John, a while ago, and a lot of the speakers have already kind of hinted about rethinking how we do our businesses today, right? So how long do we have until everything runs out, really? What's our runway? We have to know where we stand in terms of our cash flow and prepare monthly projections so that we can adapt and re-strategize, right? Second is, now is the best time to be resourceful. So a lot of entrepreneurs naturally would have this skill, no? Very opportunistic, very resourceful, and to kind of know the tools that we have at our disposal. So the government has laid out a lot of benefits and directives to either businesses and banks to help the SMEs during these trying times. So research on those options that are available to you. So one of those options are the provisions for Bayanihan to Heal as One Act, the 30-day moratorium on loan payments, and there's also directives around the provided by the DTI, for example, to waive fees on rent. So take advantage of those. Research. You're not necessarily alone in this. The government is also trying to help out. Lastly, banks and private institutions are also developing programs to help as well, no? And there are a lot of incentives right now coming from the monetary authority to lend to small businesses to help them stay afloat. So there are loan programs and online platforms out there to help support you guys. One example is next slide. Yeah, so CCAP. CCAP is our online MSME lending marketplace. Erica spoke to this a while ago. It's a marketplace of loan products where small businesses can apply for a loan. The good thing and the difference about CCAP amongst all others is that we are one of the fastest to actually process the loans. If everything checks out and everything is online, actually, you don't need to go to any branch or submit documents manually. If everything checks out, the loan could be disbursed in one day. CCAP supports all types of businesses, micro, small, medium, and even corporations. We currently offer loans in the range of 50 to 150,000 pesos, but we're looking at increasing that very soon, and hopefully we'll roll out more products for you guys in the coming months. So for more info, just go to ccap.ph. Next slide. Next. So second tip is to reflect and re-strategize. Again, the previous speakers have done such a good job at kind of preambling my presentation. So it makes my presentation easier, right? So now's the time to reinvent your business. John mentioned about pivots, and not necessarily as strong as a pivot where you do a 180 turn of your business, but something that you can relate to, right? So he spoke about cosmetics and beauty. in China and even in the Philippines. Actually, we see that in some entrepreneurs. Now they used to do F&B businesses where they have physical stores where they sell all their products, pero now they're moving on to new business models. So why not start a online baking tutorial, right, and charge your customers on that one. So subscriptions, these are happening online on Facebook Live, on Zoom. We also see a flurry of virtual entrepreneurs that used to be fitness coaches in gyms, and now they're creating their own brand and just at the comforts of their home with a camera and their phones, they do all those exercises and teach everyone during those online tutorials. So again, very creative, right? The other thing is not just to think about digital distribution, but also digitizing payments, right? So we have to somehow get that value across and in our pockets. So we have to think of new ways of getting paid. A while ago, I was reading the chat and sinabi ng isang participant that we talk a lot about digital and online payments, but for the most part of Filipinos, cash is still really king. So I agree with that, and that's why there are actually a lot of options out there, and some of the speakers have already pointed them out. But specifically for UBX, we were quite excited with a solution. Next slide, please. Called Box, and again, Erica talked about this earlier, and thank you, Erica. Box is an end-to-end payment solution for SMEs. Primarily, we started targeting the Facebook merchants because diba, traditionally what we do when we sell online on Facebook, magpipicture tayo ng product, tapos sabihin natin, sige sir, mag-deposit ka na sa BPI or BDO or UnionBank, picturean mo yung deposit slip, and then I would send the item over to you, something like that, right? So Box generally, basically, automates all that procedure and adds more payment options. So it provides access to more than 50,000 over-the-counter payment branches like 7-Eleven and DragonPay outlets. So ito yung nag-address dun sa cash problem. But the thing with cash is you don't also want to travel long, right? And some of us are really hindered by the ECQ, and there are passes pa for us to go somewhere place that we could do payments. So if with Box, there probably are a lot of branches that are scattered around, no? Like 7-Eleven and DragonPay, which we can leverage on. So it also has online banking, mobile wallets, and pretty soon, credit card and debit card payments. So makaka-process na rin kayo yan. And we're also actually working on PayPal. So those e-commerce guys that are listening in and watching this, all-in-one na siya. It's not just PayPal, and then you also have deposits. The good thing about it also is it's all-in-one channel, as I said, and then there's reports. So you don't need to do an Excel sheet separately and reconcile all these monthly payments. Nagbayad, tama pa ba yung inventory ko versus my payments? Nandiyan na siya sa Box. It's there. There's a dashboard. So signing up to Box is very easy. You just need a Facebook account. You don't have to parang fill up any form, and right away you can collect day one, actually. So for more info, just visit box.ph. Next. Last one is really use marketing, and I guess to rephrase this is leverage again on what are the tools available to you right now. In our recent webinar, we were told that the average Filipino now spends more than 12 hours staying online and in front of their phones because everyone's either working from home or parang trying to also do their business, or just really it's very right, it's very convenient. Your phone's just there, so it's always there. You sometimes I even work off my phone. So John has mentioned that we've put in place some tools for collaboration in UBX, and I can work on my phone. But syempre, minsan tinatamad ka, you can browse on social media, right? And look at Twitter for some maybe updates or news, or even TikTok, right? So ngayon, a lot of entrepreneurs are actually going there also. So I would suggest that everyone else, and you guys are listening in or watching, do the same. Kasi sayang, there's a lot of eyes in front of the phones right now. And take this time not just to push ads where you pay something, but actually create your own native content and create content that would be relatable to your clients. We even saw some businesses that are sharing how they do their meetings, etc. Not entirely related to their product, but again, a sense of social interaction, because that's what's lacking now, right? You can't see people face to face, and that's why people are going to these alternative channels for either attention or communication, right? So John also mentioned earlier na the physical store is closed and unavailable, so it has to be digitized. So at UBX, we've recently launched, and just really at the end of last month, we launched something called Centro. So next slide, please. All right. So Centro helps entrepreneurs build an online presence in literally a matter of minutes. So I tried this myself, and I hopefully I'm not parang kind of overselling to you guys, but just try it. It's really literally minutes. So me and my wife were starting to sell stickers and some products that are from parang because of our dogs, right? So we have stickers of our dogs, we sell them online, and we signed up on Centro. Very easy. Takes less than 10 minutes to build. And the thing is, you don't need to be techie to do it, right? You don't need to have a web development experience to build something on Centro. Literally drag and drop lang siya, and it's you type the title, so as you can see on the screen right now, and you can launch your store in a matter of minutes. The good thing about Centro is also it's plugged in. Yes, exactly. So I see comments right now on the chat. Centro is like Shopify. So if you are familiar with Shopify, it is what Centro is right now, but there's more that are coming in the coming months. So one thing that is integrated with Centro that's not present in some of these online store builders is a payment and a logistics function. So we're working on that. Box is currently integrated already with Centro. So automatic, may online presence ka na, makakapag-collect ka pa sa 50,000 outlets and store and branches nationwide. So it's a fairly great deal. And right now, Centro is actually free. So that's one thing that's also different versus Shopify. So we've been getting a lot of good feedback from the SMEs and micro SMEs. Um, hello? Yeah, we're up against an enemy that we cannot see, and it's up to us to respond. So let's respond with boldness and optimism. Adaption is the key during this time of crisis. For more information and questions, you can perhaps visit our website at www.ubx.ph. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Jerb. I wouldn't necessarily write off 2020 just yet. I think as long as our customers do their part in teching up themselves, I think there's hope, not just to survive, but also to prosper. So in any case, we just want to do a quick recap of everything that we discussed. So we had the presentation by Mix Dance on the portal for business banking. So we don't ask you to go to the branch anymore. You can do everything online. Jujut Enriquez spoke about GlobalLinker. So I see in the chat that a lot of people are asking what was the platform that he discussed earlier. So it's called GlobalLinker. Just sign up on GlobalLinker and you'll see a breadth and depth of fintech partners and tech partners and various tools that you could use for your own business, just not to cut costs, but do well. Aside from GlobalLinker, the API team led by Mr. Dave De La Paz quickly discussed a new method of making sure that we automate our processes, and that's through APIs or application programming interfaces. And of course, lastly, we had Mr. Jerb and Hada from UBX. So that's that's Union Bank's fintech arm. So UBX very quickly discussed Centro, which was the platform that allows you to build your own online website. CCAP, which I think will be very, very useful once we get out of ECQ and move back to GCQ and see how much companies are in need of additional cash and capital. And of course, lastly, he quickly discussed as well BUX. So there's a lot of, I know there is a lot of solutions out there, and you might feel a little bit overwhelmed by everything that we discussed. So we just wanted to say that we are here for you in case you want to maneuver how to go about it, just how to begin, how to start. The team is here if you want consultations. We can set that up with you, obviously through Zoom, and see what your pain points are and see where you could digitize and tech up your own operations as we go through this new norm. So I move this on back to Ms. Bea Lim. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Erica. Thank you, Erica, to Jujut, to Miguel, to Dave, and Jerb. I learned a lot. I was furiously taking down notes. I think that it's not just only helpful for people who are current business owners, but also those people who are looking into creating their own businesses now that we are learning how to pivot, making use of what we have now and looking at opportunities on how to move forward, even if we do have this challenge of the global pandemic, right? So thank you so much again to all of our speakers. Guys, we do have just a few more minutes for a quick Q&A session. Our chat room is super busy. I'm loving that, you guys are already asking your questions and there are already our members of the team already answering your questions. We also have some questions on our Q&A portal, but I do believe that some of these questions will be answered actually during the breakouts later. So we are going to trim down our Q&A to just about 2 to 3 questions so that we have more time for the breakouts later on. So let me already give you guys the first question, our first phone-in question from our chat group to all of our speakers. And if you guys do want to answer, please just raise your hand and then go first so that we avoid talking over one another. The first question is, and Jerb, actually you mentioned this, and I believe that a lot of people wanted to know this. Cash is king for Filipinos. How long do you think will Filipinos fully adapt to the digital transformation of services, especially in finance? Who would like to take a stab at that question?
Maybe I can start.
Go ahead, Erica.
Okay, so I know Jerb said, and I think it's true for in this case that of course in the Philippines, cash is still king. But as Tito mentioned earlier, because of this pandemic, I think all of us are becoming more convinced and we simply have no choice but to move digitally, right? And I know Union Bank has been in the forefront of digitization and transforming ourselves. And our hope was that the rest of our customers do the same. But, really, Bea, it took a pandemic like this for that to happen. And because of this situation, we're hoping that maybe by 2021, our customers are more comfortable doing things online. I'm sure it started already, like how we purchase goods, how we book our rides and our services. So it's only really a matter of time how we do that with our own finances.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erica. Does anybody else want to add to that as well? Henry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to add to what Erica mentioned. So as everybody go digital, so in Union Bank, we do appreciate that a lot of people are still in the middle. So from totally cash to moving to digital, to in the middle, their cash that they need. So I just want to highlight one of the things that were very instrumental in bridging the gap is the one that we launched through the use of what Dave also mentioned earlier, the API platform that we have. This is our solution to bridging between the digital and the cash world. We created actually a bank on wheels. That's actually a bank that's mobile, that is not tied down to a specific location and it moves around. So we're providing cash still, as the guy there is withdrawing the cash. At the same time, it's fully 5G digital. So it's a nice hybrid. So it's not one or the other. We feel that there will be some time before people become 100% digital, but people who need cash, they can still go to Union Bank.
Great. Thank you so much, Henry. Maybe we have one last speaker that can answer to that as well. Would anybody like to answer that? We're good? Oh, yes, Mon. Hi, Mon. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to, it probably will never happen. Let me put it that way. It'll never happen. It'll be completely cashless, right? Cash has its role to play, and it's going to be that way, right? But guess what? We're thinking a little bit different now than we were thinking a few weeks ago, right? And even before the pandemic, already we were seeing a lot of increase in this use. So, it doesn't look like it's coming, but there's certain turning points, right? I think none of this was really possible until the smartphones became ubiquitous and universally affordable. Virtually, right? For a practical sense, right? So when there are these things, there are these turning points that happen, and this one certainly is part of that for sure. So it won't happen completely, but it'll happen faster than you think.
Great. Thank you so much, Mon. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. So we know that there are different options. Unfortunately, it took a pandemic for us to see that, but there are other opportunities out there. And like what we mentioned earlier, we just have to grab those opportunities and use the resources that we have so that we can move forward. The next question actually is for Henry. Henry, there's a special mention for you here, and it's a question on cybersecurity. The question goes, how do you see cybersecurity will evolve with these scenarios? Example, for those who are not digitally adept, can they veer away from e-signature and just do facial recognition, thumb mark verification, and the like?
Wow, that's a very relevant question. No? So this morning, I was actually in another session with the managing director of DSP, V3 de Villa. And he touched on the importance exactly of cybersecurity and data privacy. And don't worry about going online. And as V3 mentioned, your crown jewels are basically the data that you have, your information. So because we work closely with BSP and we comply with the standards that BSP apply, we follow strictly the KYC requirements. Right now, in order for us to onboard as much people, in BSP relax some of the KYC requirements, but nonetheless, they're still secure. Now we have biometrics in place, we have 3D secure, we have OTPs in place, and also for UnionBank specifically, we're PCI DSS compliant. So if it's cybersecurity that people are concerned with, and they should be, UnionBank has invested enough to be able to have the necessary protection, prevention mechanisms for any cyber hacking. A big issue of late was the phishing, and we've been very active with the authorities. And if you notice, in the past few days, there have been a lot of arrests. So hackers beware. We're working closely with authorities, and the authorities are really doing their part in trying to secure the digital payment infrastructure in the Philippines.
Thanks, Henry. Thank you very much. Does anybody else want to answer as well? I think, Henry, you covered about 4 questions on the chat group because you already answered all of the questions related to cybersecurity. And the point really is that with going into the digital space, the big question really is on security, and they want to feel safe. So that's really good to know that we are well taken care of with your processes and the things that we have put in place. We do have one last question for our current Q&A. Before we go into our breakouts where people can ask more about the products. And the question is, are any of your fintech or IS partners have a study on personnel to transaction standard? It is anticipated that going digital in operating systems and service delivery systems would streamline staffing. Would anybody want to start off on that question?
Okay, maybe I'll start again. Sorry, Bea. Yeah. Okay, so I guess the question was with the fintechs that we work with, obviously we increase efficiencies, right, as we outsource a lot of services to our tech partners. So I guess the question really is what happens to the staff that have sort of offloaded their functions to these partner fintechs or tech providers. Obviously, what we always say to our customers, tech is there not to do away with people, because you can never do away with that. I think what we learned with this pandemic is that at the core of it, human relations are still very much important. Machines can't do the strategy for you. They can't think out of the box for you necessarily, and what's best for your business. And that's why once we offload those manual functions or those processes that are not our core business, then we could focus better on what are the essentials. So in terms of studies, as to the exact number of how much, I think it would largely depend on what kind of service that you outsource, because that would be a better indicator of what the efficiency is compared to the staffing that's needed.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Erica. Does anybody else want to add to that? Are we good? All right, fantastic. Thank you so much, everybody, for answering the questions. Again, I think you guys are going to have a lot of questions when we go into the breakout session. So maybe to just do a quick close out of everything that we talked about today, Erica, could you give us a few words to just quickly close out on what we've discussed and how we can move forward?
Great, thank you for that, Bea. So the entire UnionBank team is here to help out in any questions and concerns that you may have. I know what we discussed today was a lot. The idea was to give you high-level, ideas of what's available there. If you want to get into more details, we're here to give out consultations. So this is just the beginning, guys. We've started the digital transformation. It's not just for us, it's for everyone, especially now in the new norm that we have. It has become more imperative. Businesses are changing the way they do things, and actually technology is no longer just for maintenance. You have to think of it in a way that is necessary, because you innovate or you die, right? And also, as a last reminder, I guess, to everyone out here, if you do reach out to us, we will always keep in mind your best interests, in the sense that we will think about and go through your own processes and your own pain points, and sort of help you maneuver and weave through what is necessary for your own business. So I think that's it for the entire UnionBank. We're very, very happy to have everyone here. And we hope that you guys learned a lot and you start your own transformation journey as we sort of tech up Pilipinas. Thank you.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Erica. Tech Up Pilipinas, here we go. So I would like to thank once again our amazing guests. We had Jao earlier, Mon, Henry, John, Jujut, Miguel, Dave, Jerb, and of course Erica. Thank you so much for being part of this discussion this afternoon. I'm sure everybody had a lot of fun and were able to learn a lot of things as well. Maybe just a big close out would be that, now we are at the new digital normal. And as we shift to online, we do not only shift to survive, but we shift to grow, to flourish. And UnionBank is here to tech you up. And with that said, guys, we are breaking out into our breakout sessions wherein you get to ask actually more information on the products that you feel would be best for you. Let's talk. We have the FinTech Group, Business Portal, UB SME Banking, and of course, UBX. So thank you once again, guys, for being part of the Tech Up Tech 0123 webinar series brought to you by our Tech Up Pilipinas. We have our UnionBank, DLTap, GlobalLinker, UBX. Maraming salamat and see you soon. Thank you, guys. Have fun at your breakouts.
Bye, Bea. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Stay safe.
Yes, stay safe, everybody, please. Once again, thank you so much for everybody who joined us this afternoon. Once again, this was the first session of our Tech 0123 webinar series, Digitize and Survive. This is brought to you by TechUp Pilipinas, Distributed Ledger Technology Association of the Philippines, UnionBank, UBX, and UnionBank GlobalLinker. Again, these are the breakout rooms that you can join depending on what is suited for you. Again, it's for the FinTech Group, Business Portal, UB SME Banking, and UBX. Maraming salamat everybody. Stay safe and have fun.